Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Good morning to everybody. And we are reading to the from Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Ādi-līlā, chapter 10, and Jai Sachi Devī Jai Didi Jai Gurudev Jai Saraswati Didi Jai. And we're reading the main trunk of the Chaitanya tree, its branches and its sub-branches. So we hear the names of the devotees in the association of Mahaprabhu and their particular service to the Lord. This is text 54. Shivananda Sen, the 24th branch of the tree, was an extremely confidential servant of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Everyone who went to Jagannath Puri to visit Lord Chaitanya took shelter and guidance from Sri Shivananda Sen. That is text 54.
54, chapter 9.
Chapter 10.
10? Oh.
We always remember also the dog of Shivananda Sen, right? Holy dog. This is now text 55.
55.
Every year he took a party of devotees from Bengal to Jagannath Puri to visit Lord Chaitanya. He maintained the entire party as they journeyed on the road. Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu bestowed his causeless mercy upon his devotees in 3 features: his own direct appearance, sakshat, his prowess within someone he empowers, avesha, and his manifestation, avirbhav. The appearance of Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu in every devotee's presence is called sakshat. His appearance in Nakula Brahmachari as symptom of special prowess is an example of avesha. The former Pradyumna Brahmachari was given the name Nishingananda Brahmachari by Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. In his body, there were symptoms of avirbhav. Such appearances are uncommon, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu displays many such pastimes through his different features. Srila Shivananda Sen experienced the 3 features, sakshat, avesha, and avirbhav. Later I shall vividly describe this transcendentally blissful subject. The sons, servants and family members of Shivananda Sen constituted a sub-branch. They were all sincere servants of Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. The 3 sons of Shivananda Sen, named Chaitanya Das, Ram Das, and Karnapura, were all heroic devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Sri Vallabha Sena and Sri Kanta Sena were also sub-branches of Shivananda Sen, for they were not only his nephews, but also unalloyed devotees of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Govindananda and Govindadatta, the 25th and 26th branches of the tree, were performers of kirtan in the company of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Govindadatta was the principal singer in Lord Chaitanya's kirtan party. Sri Vijayadas, the 27th branch, another of the Lord's chief singers, gave the Lord many books written by hand. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu gave Vijayadas the name Ratnabahu, jewel-handed, because he copied for him many manuscripts. The 28th branch was Krishnadas, who was very dear to the Lord. He was known as Akinchan Krishnadas. The 29th branch was Śrīdhar, a trader in banana tree bark. He was a very dear servant of the Lord. On many occasions, the Lord played jokes on him. Every day, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu jokingly snatched fruits, flowers, and pulp from Śrīdhar and drank from his broken iron pot. The 30th branch was Bhagavan Pandit. He was an extremely dear servant of the Lord, but even previously he was a great devotee of Lord Krishna, who always kept the Lord within his heart. The 31st branch was Jagadish Pandit, and the 32nd was Hiranya Mahasaya, unto whom Lord Chaitanya in his childhood showed his causeless mercy. In their two houses, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu baked foodstuffs on the Ekadasi day and ate them personally. The 33rd and 34th branches were the two students of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu named Purushottama and Sanjaya, who were stalwart students in grammar. They were very great personalities. Vanamali Pandit, the 35th branch of the tree, was very celebrated in this world. He saw in the hands of the Lord a golden club and plough. Vanamali Pandit saw Lord Chaitanya in the ecstasy of Balaram. This is described vividly in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Ādi-līlā, chapter 9. The 36th branch, Buddhimantakan, was extremely dear to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was always prepared to carry out the Lord's orders, and therefore he was considered to be a chief servant of the Lord. Garuda Pandit, the 37th branch of the tree, always engaged in chanting the auspicious name of the Lord. Because of the strength of his chanting, even the effects of poison could not touch him. Gopinath Simha, the 38th branch of the tree, was a faithful servant of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord jokingly addressed him as Akrura. Devananda Pandit was a professional reciter of Srimad Bhagavatam, but by the mercy of Vakreshvara Pandit and the grace of the Lord, he understood the devotional interpretation of the Bhagavatam. Śrī Kandavasi Mukunda and his son Raghunananda were the 39th branch of the tree. Narahari was the 40th, Chiranjiva the 41st, and Sulochana the 42nd. They were all big branches of the all-merciful tree of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They distributed the fruits and flowers of love of Godhead anywhere and everywhere. Satyaraj, Ramananda, Yadunath, Purushottama, Shankara, and Vidyananda all belonged to the 20th branch. They were inhabitants of the village known as Kulinagram. All the inhabitants of Kulinagram village, headed by Vaninatha Vasu, were servants of Lord Chaitanya, who was their only life and wealth. The Lord said, not to speak of others, even a dog in the village of Kulinagram is my dear friend. No one can speak about the fortunate position of Kulinagram. It is so sublime that even sweepers who tend their hogs there also chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. On the western side were the 43rd, 44th and 45th branches. Sri Sanatan, Sri Rupa and Anupama, They were the best of all. Among these branches, Rupa and Sanatan were principal. Anupama, Jiva Goswami and others, headed by Rajendra, were their sub-branches. By the will of the Supreme Gardener, the branches of Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami grew many times over, expanding throughout the western countries and covering the entire region. Extending to the borders of the river Sindhu and the Himalayan mountain valleys, they expanded throughout India, including all the places of pilgrimage such as Vrindavan, Mathura and Hardwar. The fruits of love of Godhead, which fructified on these two branches, were distributed in abundance. Tasting these fruits, everyone became mad after them. The people in general on the western side of India were neither intelligent nor well behaved, but by the influence of Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, they were trained in devotional service and good behavior. In accordance with the directions of the revealed scriptures, both Goswamis excavated the lost places of pilgrimage and inaugurated the worship of deities in Vrindavan. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, the 46th branch of the tree, was one of the most dear servants of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He left all his material possessions to surrender completely unto the Lord and live at his lotus feet. So we stop there for today, reading Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta Ādi-līlā chapter 10, the main trunk of the Chaitanya tree, its branches and its sub-branches. Ki Jai. Jai Srila Krishna Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vishvavarena Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swāmī Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Gurudev. Then we read from In the Light of Loving Devotion by Srila Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj. And yesterday we read something very, very beautiful, and we will read it again. We were very touched by it. Mm-hmm. Chapter 4. The Charm of the Upper World. A life worth living. In the divine realm, in the abode of Lord Krishna, we will not be a master. Rather, we shall be very eager to consider ourselves to be a slave. That realm is so high. There is a competition in the conception of slavery. To be the slave of a slave of the slave of the Lord. If we have enough boldness to sacrifice ourselves to the extreme, then we can hope to live in that domain. Hegel expressed, die to live. The conception underlying this is very broad, bold, and of a very deep meaning. The scriptures and the saints ask, are you ready to die to yourself? Then we can recommend a land where you can live. But are you bold enough to die? That there is enough worth living for in this plane of Maya, illusion? Are you ready to come to this conclusion? There is nothing worth living for in this plane. That every particle here is worthless and also mischievous. Have you come to realize that? If you think that this world is not worth living in at all, then you will be easily ready to die, wholesale, and you will be given the opportunity of living a proper life after death. That is really life after death. So you are to die to live, and Krishna, he is for himself and not for any ghost like you. He is for himself, and he is so dignified, and everyone, every atom of his plane is so dignified. They should all be regarded with honor. Everything there, the very soul there, is such. Do you like to live in that land, to become a slave there? Paradise Lost. In John Milton's poem, Paradise Lost is just the opposite statement. It is better to reign in hell than to serve in heaven. That is Satan's opinion, but really the truth is the contrary. It is better to serve in heaven than to reign in hell. The satanic doctrine was the cause of the fall. Paradise was lost because Adam and Eve lost their faith in Sharanagati, in surrender. Their faith in the truth of surrender was disturbed, and they came to live according to their own free will and judgment, under their own responsibility, and so they had to come down into the world of calculation, to earn and eat, to labor and live. In paradise, without labor, sustenance used to come. When Adam and Eve were in a surrendered position, no labor was necessary, but automatically everything was provided for them. The soul does not require any food to maintain a material body. It has its spiritual, eternal body, and there is no need of any addition of anything from the outside to keep up its vitality. That is the pure, surrendered spiritual life, the world of the soul. But when Adam and Eve came to misuse their free choice, instead of that, their life became labor and live. That entered the world, and Satan was at the back of this. He tempted them. Why are you a slave? There is the tree of knowledge. Take from that. Temptation of knowledge. We souls in the world are very much enamored by knowledge. But Srimad Bhagavatam has said, don't rely on your knowledge. The fruit of the tree of knowledge was tasted by first Eve, then Adam, and then the tree of knowledge is dangerous. It brought them down here, down to the world of calculation. The world of surrender is the society of the good, the higher society, where there is no hypocrisy and no conspiracy. So knowledge, calculation of what is good, what is bad, that is meaningless there. Instead, there is an automatic flow of goodness in the whole atmosphere. There is no doubt, no suspicion, and no meanness to cheat one another. So there is no question of any calculation. That is so in the lower part of the spiritual abode, in Vaikuntha, and higher again in Kaloloka. It is more beautiful, more loving, more sustaining, more sweet, and more ecstatic. A sweet home. What is necessary for us is practical faith in that sort of life, in the charm of that sort of life. And Krishna promises, Sarvadhamam parityajam, mam ekam sharanam braja, aham tvam sarva pavebhyo, mokshayishyama ma sucha. Srimad Bhagavad Gita 18:66. Give up all kinds of religion and surrender unto me alone. I will liberate you from all sins. Do not despair. In the Bible, there is a history of the soul's fall, but it is not described very clearly or minutely how the soul is going up towards the Lord. It is vague, only that the Son of God has come to take the soul up to the divine abode, the abode of God. The fall of Adam and Eve, how that came about, that is very clear. But how the soul is taken from this plane to that, from the lower to the higher, there is not any clear or explicit description, nor of who are residing there in that higher plane. There are so many Christ-like souls who have full faith in God's land, God's actions, God's goodness, so much so that they treat all the wealth, the prosperity, the charm of this world of enjoyment as nothing. They will trample it under their feet. They have died to this world. I resign all comfortable posts in this world, however great, of kingship, leadership, or of the charm of a lover like Romeo or a beloved like Juliet. All dismissed. I am ready to dismiss all these things for a higher life, a life mystic, unknown, a sweet, sweet life, a sweet home. Life, the afterlife and beyond. Bhagat Singh was one of the leading anarchists in Punjab, and he was captured and given capital punishment, a death sentence. One gentleman asked him, "The day of your death is drawing near. How do you feel?" He replied, "I'm very eager to see the afterlife. This life is finished for me completely. I have no charm for this life. Now I'm very eager to see the afterlife." But Bhagat Singh did not know that his afterlife must be also similar to this. The anarchist's afterlife, what kind of good can it be? He has attraction for this mundane world, and he cannot tolerate another's ownership here, and he wants to snatch the ownership of this material world from him. So what kind of afterlife he will see? Will it be anything very glorious? But we are to see rather all achievements, all positions in this world neglectfully as of no importance, no dignity, even the post of the creator of this material world, Brahma. He is in its creator and master. But he is himself within the relativity of this world, which is mortal and nasty. His position is also condemnable. What to speak of ordinary persons like us, when even the creator of this whole mundane world is also surrounded by inauspicious, reactionary consequences of mortal life? Then what is our position? It is so meager. An intelligent person should see that any material activity is subject to constant transformation, and that even on the planet of Lord Brahma there is just this simple unhappiness. Indeed, a wise man can understand that just as all that he has been seen is temporary, similarly all things within the universe have a beginning and an end. Above Brahma is Shiva. His position is that of the liberated soul. The temperament of the liberated soul in that plane is Shivoham, Shivoham, Shivoham. I'm independent. I do not care for material comfort. Independent of that as soul, I can live. I don't care for any comfort, acquisition or achievement. I'm sufficient in myself. I'm self-sufficient. Atma-rama. I don't require any exploitation of this world, nor of anyone. That plane is spiritual, but it is the marginal position, just on the border of the higher realm. Above that plane is another domain, and it is so high and so charming that when the soul comes into contact with it, it feels, "Oh, I want to enter as a slave into this holy and magnanimous land. He wants to be a member of that land, even the lowest member. He will feel even an ant's position in that noble domain is something to be envied. That realm is Vaikuntha. Again, over Vaikuntha is Goloka, the most comprehensive and most subtle, all-pervading plane. It is the highest plane to be found in all of existence, the foundation of all different varieties of planes of experience. Goloka is all beauty and love. Beauty and love are of similar nature. That plane is beyond power, power-seeking. It is all sweet. Jai, Jai in the light of loving devotion. Ki Jai, Jai, Srila Bhakti Rakak Siddhadev Swāmī Maharaj Ki Jai. Wonderful. Nourishment for the heart. Any comments?
Still processing.
Yeah. Very beautiful. Tungarasa, you want to sing Hari Araya, please?
Didi? Yeah. Do you mind sitting there for the camera? Do you mind if I record you?
Hari Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopal Govindaram Śrī Madhusudan.
Gopal Govindaram Śrī Madhusudan.
Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan.
Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan.
Śrī Caitanya Nityananda Śrī Advaita
Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta. Radharara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Rupa Sanatana Bhattara Guna. Sri Jiva Gopala Bhattara Saraguna. Echai Kosai Kori Charana Banda. Yahoi Te Vijnana Savishta Pura. Echai Kosai Jamui Taradas. Kansavara Parare Numora Panchakas. Tandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sameva. Jaya Sapaikara Sisi Guru Kuranga Sundarada Kiridakatu Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Srila Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Sri Rupanuga Gurvarga Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vishwafaran Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swāmī Prabhupada Ki Jai. Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta Mat Sri Acharya Vrinda Ki Jai. Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta Mat Ki Jai. Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta Mat London Chapter Ki Jai. Jai, all glories to the assembled devotees Ki Jai. All glories to the world devotees Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. Jai, all the devotees Ki Jai.